What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Darrell D TV. I'm your host, Darrell D. Check this out. I want to show you guys a really cool part of my collection. Um, and let me just go right into the story of how all of this came about. So, most of you guys who follow the channel know that I am a vinyl collector, uh, comic book collector, and I'm a DJ. And back in, it was probably around 2003, 2004, somewhere in there. I was the house DJ for a KRS-One concert that came through town. I forgot everybody that was on the bill, but I'm DJing at the beginning and in between acts. So finally, uh, the it was time for KRS-One to perform. I'm DJing, whoop de woo, get done. I leave the stage and I go out into the crowd to watch the show from there because I'm a huge KRS-One fan. So it was kind of a crazy night that kind of started there. One thing was that was the same night that Prince was in town performing, and I still had not seen him. I always wanted to see him, but I ended up getting booked for this show, so I was at that show. So I'm missing Prince, and there's like a little conflict there. But what are you gonna do, right? You gotta take the money sometimes. So I go out into the crowd and I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm just kind of finagling my way closer and closer to the stage so I can get like a really good view. Now, I've seen KRS-One many, many times over the years, but that didn't matter because, I'm a huge KRS fan. Anyway, so I'm trying to get closer and closer and not disrespecting anybody, and I wait until somebody moves, and then I move a little closer and wait until the crowd shifts, and then I ease a little closer. And man, I'm like, maybe at this point, I'm like maybe 4 or 5 feet from the stage, if not closer. And there was this chick in the crowd, and at some point I was behind her, and then at some point I was on the side of her, and then at some point I was in front of her. Again, I didn't, never touched her, but she got ticked off. She saw me easing, closer and closer to the stage. So she got ticked off, and when I got like in front of her, she like elbowed me like right in the chest or something, and reflexes just kicked in. You know how you know how they go, or maybe you don't, I don't know. But she elbowed me in the chest, and I just grabbed her and I pushed her, and I swear like it was so sardine packed. I don't know. I must have pushed this chick, and she must have went 12, 15 feet away, like right through the crowd, and people were looking at me because there was a lot of people I knew there. People, was like, whoa, they were kind of shocked because, I'm not like that. I'm not an aggressive person. And she's yelling and screaming, and I'm getting ready to yell back. And then one of the homies grabbed me, and he was like, I won't say the exact words that he said, but he basically like got in my ear, and he was like, hey, don't screw this show up. Don't screw this up. You know what I'm saying? And when he said that, I kind of like, just came out of this rage I was in. And right before he grabbed me, so I'm automatically thinking this chick is there with her boyfriend or something. So I'm like on guard now, like waiting for somebody to, approach me. And so when old boy, he kind of grabbed me from behind, he got in my ear, and he said that I knew who he was. And I was just like, oh, man. And then old girl came back over there, and we like, kind of squashed it out. I was like, I don't mean no harm. I'm just trying to see the show, but, Anyway, so that's another thing that happened, and show finally gets started. A cool thing that happened is that at some point during the show, KRS-One played "Love's Gonna Get You, Love's Gonna Get You, Love's Gonna Get You," and he was like, I don't know. I can't remember if it was the intro. Or I think it was somewhere in the middle of the song. He's like, "Who knows this song? Who knows?" Like, yo, right here, right here, and I'm in the front now. Like, and he like just hands me the mic, and I start like spitting a whole verse of "Love's Gonna Get You." He's like looking at me like, "Oh, okay, you got it like that, yeah, yeah, you know that." And so that was kind of cool. So at eventually, I just kind of moved further back from the show or from the crowd, and I got my little upfront thing going on, and so I was like, yeah, let me ease back a little. So at some point, I'm all the way in the back of the venue. I'm like sitting down at the bar or something. So KRS-One pulls out like a thick stack of like copy paper, right? And he just takes a marker and he's just tagging it with KRS, and he's like passing it out to people in the crowd, and he's just like tagging it. Everybody's grabbing, blah, blah, blah. And he goes through like a really nice stack of copy paper. And after he ran out of copy paper, people started just passing him anything to sign. They was just passing him up whatever, and he was just signing and giving it back. And then I see this dude, and I just see him, he holds up like his shoe, like his sneaker or something. I just see him, he holds it up, and then KRS-One grabs it and he signs it and gives it back to him. And I'm in the back, I'm sitting on a stool in front of the bar, and I'm just like, never seen that before. It's kind of interesting, So when the show was over and people were leaving, most of the people were gone, and I got a chance to approach KRS, I was like, I'm going to get him to sign my shoe. Now, I've had KRS sign a number of records over the years because I've been around him quite a few times. In fact, I got a video coming out one of these days that talks a little bit more extensively about me being around KRS-One. Anyway, so I went over to him at some point. I took my sneaker off and I asked him if he would sign it, which he did. Boom. Right? So fast forward a few days, 3-4 days, I'm at the crib and I'm looking at the sneaker, and I'm just like, I think maybe I would like to continue this whole, scenario with the, getting autographs on my sneaker. And since the first one I ever got was from KRS-One, I am only going to have legends sign my sneaker. People from the old school. It's either somebody old school, some type of pillar, in hip hop culture, some type of legend. It's not just gonna be your everyday performer or someone from the culture. They gotta be like heavy in the culture, and somebody from back in the day. Somebody, on the same or similar level as KRS-One. And thus, that started my collection of autographs on sneakers. At this point, I probably have probably around 8 pair, somewhere in there, completely covered in autographs from people that I've met all over the place. Most of, not all, but most of the signatures I got while visiting New York City. A lot of them at different park jams, different clubs, things of that nature. So, what I'm going to start doing is sharing some of these sneakers with you guys, one at a time. And that brings us here today. So, I pulled out the very first sneaker, and I'm going to show that to you and show you who I got to sign this. So, of course, with the whole KRS-One story, I have to start off with this sneaker right here. And as you can see right there, there's KRS-One. So, yeah, this is the one that got it all started for me right here. So let's see who else is on here. Let's talk about it. If you look right here, that's 05. 2005, this was definitely at the, oh no, where was this? Where did I meet Melly Mel in 2005? I cannot remember. I've been around Melly Mel a lot over the years. So I thought maybe this was Crotona Park, because I know I hung around him for a while over, but that was later. That was in 2005. So I don't know where this signature came from, but right here you can see Melly Mel, and it says 05 there. Man, that bugs me out, because I don't remember exactly where I got this from. That's kind of, I'm gonna have to figure that one out. But at the same time that I got this Melly Mel signature, I also got Dynamite from the Furious 5 as well. Now, Dynamite was formerly known as Scorpio. So he actually signed Dynamite, and as you can see, it says "Don't Push Me," and then he also signed Scorpio. 2005. So I know I got both of those signatures together at the same time, and when they perform, they just about always perform together. Now, like I said, I've met Melly Mel a number of times, but man, I cannot remember what happened in 2005. I've been to a zillion shows. I'll probably never figure it out. But yeah, man, so what do y'all think of that? I think that is pretty cool. Now, let's flip it over, because I got some signatures on here that I want to show you that I probably won't be able to figure out either. Well, figure out where. So right there, you probably can't see or read it that well, but that is Slick Rick's signature right there. Slick Rick is another one that I've been around a number of times over the years. So I'm not sure where I got this one. I know we've performed with Slick Rick before. I remember I've seen Slick Rick. I've been around him a few times. I think this signature, my best guess was when we opened for Melly Mel. I mean, when we opened for Slick Rick or I think maybe I hosted that show at this spot called Club Freedom here in town, because that might have been the first or second time I was around him. I believe that's where I got this signature from. But I've seen him in different cities, a number of different shows and clubs. One time I had booked Rob Swift from the X-Men to come do a show here in Phoenix, and right when he got on the plane, he called me and he's like, "Yo, Darrell D, yo, Slick Rick is on the same plane." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, man." I was like, "Oh, that's dope," right? So I remember when I went to go pick Rob up from the airport, I'm just watching all these people, come out the gate, and sure enough, I see Slick Rick walking through there. And you would never know that was Slick Rick, because he was just dressed regular. He had like a full length jacket on, no jewelry whatsoever. He must have checked it in, because he wasn't carrying any bags or anything. So that's kind of risky, checking your jewelry in the suitcase or whatever. But hey, whatever. Anyway, I was like, "Yo, Slick Rick, what's up?" He was like, "Oh, what's up, man? What's up?" That was pretty cool. He kept it moving. He was doing a show in town that night too. So, man, and there was the clubhouse. I saw him at a show there. I've seen Slick Rick plenty of times, even going back to like when his first album came out. I should have pulled out that flyer. Anyway, so that's where Slick Rick came from. Now let's see who else is on here. Let's go to this middle signature right here. This is Master G from the Sugar Hill Gang. And down here is Wonder Mike from the Sugar Hill Gang. And here, Wonder Mike wrote, "Jesus loves you." Let's get a closer look at that. And I definitely know where I got these signatures from. So there was this show at the Celebrity Theater here in town, and it was Sugar Hill Gang, Big Daddy Kane, was it Chub Rock? No. Sugar Hill Gang, Big Daddy Kane, Houdini, and EPMD. That's what it was. Houdini, EPMD, Sugar Hill Gang, Big Daddy Kane. What stood out about this is, now when I go back further, I've been around Sugar Hill Gang a small handful of times. And I remember getting them to sign this album. I should have pulled that out. And I remember when they were signing my album, I remember Wonder Mike looking exactly like he looked on the album covers. I remember Big Bank Hank, rest in peace, looking exactly like he looked on the album cover. But Master G didn't look anything like he looked on the album cover. And that was kind of weird to me. Because people get older, but they don't change that much, for the most part. They don't change, they don't look so that different, when they get older. And I couldn't figure it out. But they all signed my my record. So at this particular show, Master G was there, and he looked like he did on the actual cover. But right before that happened, I realized, not at the show that night, but I realized that it wasn't Master G the first time I met those guys. It was Joey Robinson, Sylvia Robinson's son. Sylvia Robinson being the woman who owned Sugar Hill Records. So I guess for whatever reason, Master G wasn't around, and he was filling in for him. But he was signing Master G. That's what he did, which, whatever, right? Anyway, so the real Master G was at this show, and I was extremely excited to meet him, because I knew, okay, that's the real Master G right there. So he came out, and I was just like, man, wow, man, where you been? And he was like, I've been in Chicago, I think he was doing like mechanics work. I think he was fixing cars in Chicago for all of those years. And at some point they called him up, and he got back into the mix, and they've been touring ever since. But that was very exciting, because I love Sugar Hill Gang. Um, and it was a great show when Houdini performed. They had Dr. Ice from UTFO dancing, and Dr. Ice is actually an official member of UTFO, which I didn't know that at first. I knew that he was down with them. He's been dancing with them even before UTFO, blew up. Um, but I actually got to speak to Dr. Ice. That's a whole nother story. Recently, and he just broke down a whole bunch of stuff, and I didn't know that he was always an official member of UTFO. So I was really trying to meet him. Um, Now the way that the celebrity theater works is it's in the round. All right. So what I would do periodically when I was trying to meet people is right after the show or right when the show is about to end, I just go outside, and then you go around to the side of the building, and there's an area that's kind of blocked off in the parking lot, and it's the area where the vehicles come in, um, where the artists are, where the artists, go in and out. So a lot of times you'll see the artists coming out the door, which is what happened with me. So when I saw Master G come out, I yelled over, hey, come on, I'm waving my record and this, that, and the other thing, and then they'll come up to the gate a lot of times, and they'll sign records, or sign whatever. So, yeah, I remember Big Daddy Kane came over and all of this stuff, but I'll get to that with these other artists as I come across their signatures. Anyway, I'm looking, I forgot who I asked. It was one of the guys in Houdini, and I was like, yo, where's Dr. Ice? Where's Dr. Ice? And it was like, yo, man, Doc had to hop on a plane as soon as we got off stage. He went straight to the airport because he had to go. He had to get up and get out of here. And I was like, oh, man, because I love UTFO, But, yeah, so that's where I got, Master G and Wonder Mike and their signatures, which was really, really cool. Now, if you look at this signature right down here, take a good look at that. You can barely make out what it says. And when I decided to do this video, I've been thinking about it, for a while, but I decided, okay, let's go on and shoot this video. I had pulled this sneaker out, and I hadn't looked at it for a long time because it was kind of put away, and I had to really look at that and figure out whose signature that was. That is actually the signature of Grandmaster Flash. So yes, I had always wanted to meet Grandmaster Flash. He performed at a club here in town, and it was sort of like where we were, the crowd, a lot of clubs out here, and this is all over the country. You know how you have a bar or a club, and then they have like the garage looking doors, or they'll just have these big open spaces, so you're kind of sitting inside of the venue, but you're also outside because it's like all opened up. It was an area like that. So when he was done DJing, he was ready to go, he came outside, and he was standing like in front of this venue, the venue area. And so people are, including myself, are going up there, and they're asking him for autographs, and he didn't seem very excited or very, he didn't seem like he really wanted to sign anything, but he was signing stuff. You know how you just grab stuff and go, here, and he was like trying to find his vehicle, or the vehicle was parked there, but the driver wasn't around. So he's like yelling out to whoever, hey, where's the driver? Where's the driver? Like he was just trying to get up out of there. But whatever, he wasn't, I wouldn't say he was rude, but, fans, be nice. But he did sign my sneaker, and he also signed an album cover for me, which was cool too. So that is where Grandmaster Flash's signature came from. So when I show these, I always like to say where I acquired these signatures and how, you know, how the event went down and all of that stuff. So yeah, that's what time it is right now. I hope you guys liked this video, because I certainly thought it would be pretty cool to share something like this with you. So I got a whole lot of these left to show you. A whole lot of incredible, legendary artists from hip-hop culture in every aspect, and I'm looking forward to showing you more. All right, so thank you guys for hanging out. That's all for right now, and we'll see you next time on Darrell D TV. You guys stay safe. Peace and love.